I love the wallabies, and you know what I love in particular is that one over there, in the pouch, is a tiny little joey.
I know, and if you're lucky, every now and then you see a little nose poking out, don't you?
Of course, those first few weeks are absolutely key to the survival.
They are, like all young animals, very vulnerable, and they are dependent on the adult to keep them safe. But sadly, that doesn't always guarantee that everything is going to be okay, as we find out today when we follow the story of a little zebra foal called Turnip.
Also coming up, Harry's facing a standoff to protect his girls.
Oh, he doesn't want her going near it.
No.
Catching a prickly escape artist.
Have you seen a creature? It's about this big, about the size of a squash. Funny enough, it's called squash.
Here she comes.
And a photo booth like no other.
That was a rev.
The small herd of Grant zebra at Longleat are amongst the most iconic creatures in the park. Physically smaller than any other species of zebra on the African savannah, last year the park had a baby boom. 6 sturdy foals were added to the herd. But all is not well.
Unfortunately, we've got one that's got a possible problem with them that we might not be able to resolve.
Lead keeper Tina is concerned about 7-month-old Turnip.
Last week, she was a little stiff on her back right leg, and then the next day, it just escalated to full discoordination on her hind quarters. Basically, she doesn't know where to place her feet, we don't know how much feeling she has, and she's having trouble walking.
Tina and keeper Megan have looked after Turnip since birth, and her limping is a real worry. In the wild, zebras can escape predators at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour, but not little Turnip, who on top of her lameness is now being attacked by other members of the herd.
With zebras, they're quite aggressive towards a weak member of the group, just because in the wild that would mean they're going to get preyed on. So try to get rid of that member before the predator will do it for them. One of our male foals that is just going for a wee bit more than we would like to.
My main worry is that she does get hurt from this, and we have to intervene, but we don't want to get to that point.
Keepers urgently need to get to the bottom of exactly what's wrong with poor Turnip. She may have been hurt in an encounter with another zebra, and vets have already prescribed medication to help with pain and inflammation.
Steady.
But the reality is that the little foal's lameness could be caused by something much worse than a simple injury.
There could be a few conditions that she's suffering from. One of those conditions is a condition called Wobblers disease. It's exactly what it sounds like. She's wobbly on the back end. It's all to do with the central nerves that go into your legs. They're being compressed in her back, which is causing the discoordination in her hind legs. It's a neurological disease which gets progressively worse. She gets older, it's likely that those nerves are going to be more constricted and she might not be able to use her back legs in the end.
Wobblers disease is not only degenerative, it's also incurable. No one knows yet if Turnip has it, but if she does, keepers face the heartbreaking prospect of putting a foal that's not yet weaned to sleep.
Turnip would be my favourite zebra foal. I want to be very hopeful for full recovery, but I also have to be realistic with what could actually happen.
It's like, I know something's going on and I have to do what's right. We can't let an animal suffer. We can cry afterwards, we can grieve afterwards and everything like that, but we have to do what is best for Turnip.
Poor little Turnip faces an uncertain future. Hopefully, a visit from the vet will make things clearer. We'll find out later. I want you to meet one of my very favourite animals here in Animal Adventure. This is Parsnip, and she's a tree porcupine, but Ben,
She's looking for love. What do you think she needs to do to find a mate?
Well, I think she might need to do something about those spines. The prickles just, they're a bit intimidating on a date. And also, have you seen her teeth? I don't know, she could do with brushing them.
She's a rodent. She's allowed to have bright orange teeth, aren't you, Parsnip? And she has got a gorgeous personality.
She is beautiful. She is living in here with a skunk, and she might need to think about her smell.
Maybe the perfume is putting off a prospective mate.
But a new beau has been found for Parsnip, and we'll see their first date a little later. Meanwhile, there are other porcupines in the park getting themselves in prickly situations.
The start of a new day at Longleat. And the moment when lead keeper Nick discovers if the prehensile-tailed porcupines are where he left them last night.
Hey girls, what you doing?
Squash and Pumpkin should spend their evenings tucked away in the night house. But the adventurous pair have developed a dangerous habit of fleeing their enclosure after dark. Escapee in chief is older girl Squash.
This is our lovely Squash. She's the larger of the two girls. Again, she's definitely the more boisterous. She's the adventurer type. She likes to be the one, again, moving around the exhibit. Unfortunately, the one getting out of the exhibit. So often when we come into the night house in the morning, I normally find Pumpkin, but not necessarily finding Squash. And on a really bad day, I don't find either.
Their enclosure is one of 5 in the park's new mammal house.
Well done, good girl, eh?
Nocturnal by nature, their nighttime wanderings are putting them both in harm's way.
Obviously, it's a big headache for us as keeping staff. Obviously, we're not here potentially on the evenings when they are out and about, and they could potentially hurt themselves going around the exhibit. Biggest issue is the fact that they need to keep eating. Obviously, if the porcupines are out of their exhibit, they're not near their food, and they can develop health issues with their stomachs. They can actually kill them in the long term.
Their midnight adventures could also mean they get injured or trapped. But despite these dangers, these escape artist porcupines want to use their prehensile tails to climb and explore the area. So, cutting off their escape routes hasn't exactly been easy.
It is a game of chess with these guys. We put one piece in place, they find another way around it. You'll find there are lots of metal discs around the exhibit, mainly due to the fact we didn't think they could get as much access all the way up to the top, but they can. So again, we put discs in place in order to keep them within the exhibit. We also then found that they can access different parts of the exhibit by simply reaching up and using those special prehensile tails. So we've boarded up parts of the exhibit to prevent them from getting down there. We think, in theory, we have blocked off everywhere which they should be able to access. But they're still getting out.
And as if to prove the point, Nick's just called me to Animal Adventure because one of the ladies has gone AWOL again and he needs help to track her down. Okay, so who's actually missing today?
We are missing Squash. Obviously, she can't get out of here, but ideally we'd like to keep her in this area, which is her true exhibit.
Yes.
But obviously, being in the polytunnel, we've got lots of access up in the roof, so she is getting about.
Presumably, having a prehensile tail means that they're much more agile. They're good climbers.
Very, very good climbers, and that's part of the problem. They are climbing pretty much where we don't want them to.
Okay, using my brilliant detective skills, I'm imagining she's come out of her enclosure, she has swung like Tarzan across these beams, and she has landed in this tree, and she is not there. Is she a greedy animal? Does she like the heat, the cold?
She is. She likes the heat. She's from Central and South America. She's quite partial to food as well, but again, they're also crepuscular and nocturnal, so they're more active at night than they are during the day. And really, she's probably settled down somewhere for a nap.
Ah, okay. Well, you've just given me a key piece of evidence, so she's probably hiding somewhere, and she's made herself very comfortable. Clue number 1 in the bag. An open and shut case, I reckon. There's something in here moving this rug.
Unfortunately, more than likely a ferret.
Okay, that's a ferret. Okay, we will leave the ferrets alone. Squash! Where could you be? But escapee Squash is more wily than I expected.
Pumpkin is still in the exhibit. He's at
Now
the back
I know
there.
what we're looking for. Okay, Pumpkin is kind of the size of a pumpkin.
Yeah, Squash is a little bit bigger.
Squash, Pumpkin, we're getting really confused now. Am I looking for a vegetable or an animal? Okay, I now know roughly the size and colour we're looking for. Useful, but a bit of hard evidence wouldn't go amiss. Where can she be? Now, what is this on the floor, Nick?
This is our squash evidence.
Ah, is this prehensile porcupine poo?
It is indeed. Obviously, so she has been up in the rafters. Obviously,
So she's been up here somewhere.
stop,
It's
yeah.
all around here. Look, there's one here and there's one here. Ah, it's going all the way around here. These guys must know something. Have you seen a creature? It's about this big, about the size of a squash. Funny enough, it's called squash, and it's black and white. No? Okay, let's keep following the poo. There's a few more here. A few more. It seems to end around here. I found something with a very large nose, even larger than mine, which is saying something. Wow, there she is.
And in one piece, thank goodness. But she's diced with death by climbing from one of the mammal houses to the other.
Listen, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in your enclosure.
Mystery solved. But if Nick can't find a way to keep free-spirited Squash from escaping, next time it might not be such a happy ending.
Oh, Caleb, thank you so much for organising this mirror. I'm feeling so at home. But what are Harry and Klaus doing here?
So this is a test for Harry.
Right.
Now that he's a big pride male and he's got his pride of girls, we want to test how strong he is and see if he's up to challenge these pictures of other males. And the theory is he should want to attack the darker male because that's the one he's got a challenge, or a more of a challenge for his girls. And then we've got a lighter maned male to see if he would instantly intimidate that one.
What can they tell from the mane?
So they can tell a lot from the mane, actually. The bigger, the darker the mane, the stronger and the more testosterone the male has. So obviously, you wouldn't challenge a really dark maned male with long hair because he's been healthy throughout his entire life and he's really strong. And that's a flag to the girls as well. So they like a darker maned male. So Harry's got to prove that he's strong enough or not lose out to one of these boys. And then just for a bit of fun, we've put the mirror in the middle because they've never seen a mirror before, that gives a clear reflection. And he would get the reaction of himself challenging himself, so it might create a bit of a reaction, but he might just completely ignore it.
Great, should we get behind the fence and watch?
Yeah,
come on.
Let's go.
I feel you're excited about this, Caleb.
I am excited, yeah.
Look over there, Harry. Now, is he clocked?
Yeah,
Clocked
he's clocked them.
Yeah.
He's going straight towards it, which
I
is
think he's
good.
spotted himself in the mirror.
Oh,
Ooh.
he's going to go around behind.
Give him a sniff.
Oh.
What's happening now?
So he just nudged it and he's nervous that it moves because he's not 100% sure that it's not something that could hurt him.
But I tell you what, he's not scared. He walked straight up to it.
Yeah. He's not quite sure what he makes of it at the minute. He's waiting for it to move so that he can react to it. He is eyeing himself up. He thinks that that lion's doing exactly the same thing, so he's worried that it's going to attack him, so this could be a deadlock all day at this rate.
He's as smart as me and he's as good looking as me, so I'm just going to stay
He's as
here.
handsome as me. He could intimidate me. Lions are highly intelligent, though, so he might work out at some stage that it's nothing to worry about, but currently he is just... He's met his match, so he is not sure what to do.
And he is thinking. You can see that he's thinking about stuff and evaluating the situation.
Yeah. And you can see what's happened to his mane as well. Even though nothing physically has changed, his mane has got a lot more stuck up. All his muscles and stuff are sticking his mane up. He's looking a lot more intimidating than he does, and he's a lot more pumped up. Try and show how big he is. And he's really standing up tall, so he's definitely seeing it as a challenge. He's actually scent marking now, so he's having a wee and a scratch, which means that he's marking his territory, and he's showing that he's not afraid to mark his territory, which is actually a really good sign, because he's not terrified, he's just showing off.
Oh, so who have we got coming out?
So this is Malika, and she's our smartest female lioness, and also one of Harry's favourites, so we'll see how she reacts.
Well, Harry's very close to it. It's almost like, stick with
and
me.
we've also got Harry's second favourite and third favourite lionesses coming out as well, so, oh, he's like, you do not go and...
Oh, he just want
He
doesn't want her going near it?
No, he does not want those little lionesses going anywhere near. He doesn't mind Malika because he knows and trusts Malika and she's his favourite, so she's probably giving him the signals of, I would back you up 100%, but he does not want them going too close to those pictures. Oh. Malika is terrified of seeing a lioness. Oh dear. She's going towards Harry sort of for reassurance, which is really nice. And he is really posturing. Yeah, he's getting very wound up now.
I can feel the energy changing. It's getting a little bit tense.
He doesn't want to lose any of his girls to the other males, so yeah, he's very tense. And the others are now worried for the girls as well, so they're roaring.
So the others over there know that there's something going on here? Oh, listen, listen.
That is Harry telling every other lion here that he's in charge.
That is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. That's how a lion behaves, isn't it? And that roar was terrifying.
Yeah, he's very excited today.
He is the king of the jungle and he is letting everyone know.
Yeah.
I've been invited by keeper Chloe to help with a spot of reindeer grooming. Now, Chloe, who have we got here?
We have Reuben. He's our oldest boy.
Yeah, and I have to say his coat has seen better days.
Yes, he's definitely looking a little bit patchy. He's currently going through that period where he's molting out of his winter coat into his summer coat and he needs a bit of a hand.
Okay, how are we going to go about this then? Where do we need Reuben?
Wherever he will have us.
Yeah.
Sometimes he will just sort of wander around, but pick a patch and get going.
And what do I do? So this is a grooming brush here. And
Absolutely.
Do we just, how hot? Oh, wow.
As you can see, it literally just
oh my gosh,
comes off.
It is
you could
coming
pretty
off.
much use
We could
your
almost
hand
just
ever
pull
so
that off.
gently.
Wow. And I imagine, a bit like with dogs, they quite like to get rid of all that loose fur, ultimately, although he's not sure. Reuben, we need to give you a little bit of a brush, if that's okay. You can't eat that.
At birth, Reuben failed to feed from his mum, and it looked like he wouldn't make it.
I actually don't think it's going to survive.
The keepers tried desperately to hand feed him, but he just wouldn't eat.
He's just not suckling. He just has no energy.
It took hours of painstaking care, but eventually young Reuben turned a corner and began to feed by himself.
We have got there in the end.
He was sort of like touch and go at the start, but he's come on leaps and bounds now. I mean, he's 110 kilos, he was harness trained. I say was just because he's grown out of that harness now.
Has he? Okay.
So we're obviously working on getting him another one so that we can take him on things like walks, which was amazing for the public to be able to see and to watch as well.
And then this coat will regrow ready for the winter?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can see just how thick it is where some of the longer bits, but he will completely molt right down to this sort of fine, really, really thin hair. If they do get a little bit too hot, we do have shelters for them, so they tend to go in there, lie down in their bed. But Reuben in particular, we have like a very, very big water bucket. He actually stands his feet in them.
Does he really?
Yeah, and he's kind of like, oh, this is nice and relaxing. Out in the wild, they would have things to rub against. So various trees, they would even sort of rub themselves on the ground. Anything they can do, really, even each other, to try and obviously get it all off. And it takes a long time, but...
We're speeding up nature a little bit here.
Speeding up the process.
Chloe, thank you very much. Well, I have to say, Reuben the reindeer was a lot easier to brush than my own daughter.
Earlier, we saw how 7-month-old zebra foal Turnips become unsteady on her feet. It's making her vulnerable to attack from the rest of the herd, and more worrying still, could be a sign of an incurable neurological condition called Wobblers that may mean she has to be put to sleep. Turnip's been on medication for about a week now.
So is this our patient down here?
Yes.
This is Turnip.
She's such a sweet-looking thing.
I'm checking in with vet Duncan and keeper Tina to see how things are looking for the struggling foal.
She's obviously been worrying you quite a lot. How are things looking now?
Yeah, she went lame last Wednesday.
Yeah.
She's been on medication, and basically, like, we would go on ibuprofen, just a nice pain relief, some anti-inflammatories to see if it was an injury or anything like that that can be settled down by that. But I'm just catching up with Duncan today because, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have done anything.
The meds aren't working. Could this mean that Turnip does have incurable Wobblers disease after all?
What do you think, Duncan?
Well, I've taken advice from my colleagues. They're experienced equine vets, and they don't think that the symptoms fit Wobblers syndrome quite. Wobblers basically is the vertebrae narrows and presses on the spinal cord in the neck area, and it causes this sort of condition. But they kind of think, just for the age of the animal and the sudden onset and such like, it's much more likely to be trauma, I think.
What sort of trauma would cause her to walk in that way?
Well, eyewitness reports of the other zebra chasing and, sort of beating her up as such. So it could be something like that. But, there's no actual physical...
marks on her?
No.
So it's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah. I think going forward, what we've kind of going to have to do, really, is separate her from the rest of the group. Is we need to prevent any further damage, give the anti-inflammatories a chance to work, and see what happens, really.
Is there a risk, though, Tina, that if you separate Turnip, and presumably her mum will go with her...
Yes.
But if you separate them from the herd, that when you try and reintroduce them, if it does work, that they're not accepted back into the herd?
There's always a risk, especially when the herd animals and things like that. Saga is very independent. She's a low-ranking female, so that means her daughter is as well. She's very much on the outside of the group anyway. Unfortunately, it is kind of, a 50-50 kind of thing. There's the risk that we won't be able to get them back into the group, but right now it's what's best for Turnip, and we need to get her out of here and hopefully give her some TLC, really.
What would be your hope?
Well, we'll keep her on the anti-inflammatory for at least another week.
Yeah.
And we'll see if there's any difference when I'm back in the park next week. I mean, if it's getting worse, despite the treatment, that kind of...
Yeah, then there's harder decisions to make.
Absolutely, yeah.
Teeny Turnip may not have incurable Wobblers, but with her recovery slow and the herd on the attack, she's not out of the woods yet.
As I discovered with Nick earlier, prehensile-tailed porcupines, Squash and Pumpkin, are proper little escape artists.
They don't like to stay in their exhibit. We find them in the keeper access area in the chipmunks exhibit. I've once found one down behind the cavey wall. We find them up in the very top of the rafter at the extraction point, and completely at the other end of the exhibit from the actual part they're meant to be in.
Leaving the safety of their enclosure poses a threat to their well-being, and with every fresh escape, the risk increases. So Nick needs to turn super sleuth to figure out just how this pair of rascals are getting out.
So we're just putting some sawdust down. Hopefully going to try and catch some footprints of our porcupine making their way out of the exhibit.
To give his sting operation extra bite, we're rigging the enclosure with some of our cameras to catch the escapees in the act.
So hopefully with our sawdust and our night vision camera in place, we'll be able to find where indeed the porcupine are getting out of the exhibit. It's a bit of detective work, but hopefully it'll pay off.
As the sun sets over the park, Special Agent Nick will have to wait till tomorrow to pick up the case of the runaway porcupines. Early next morning. And you don't have to be Miss Marple to see that Squash and Pumpkin have been up to their old tricks.
We've got some disturbance in our sawdust. We've got some definite tail disturbance over here. Quite evidently, porcupine, we've got some quills. Looks like we may have a little bit of feces in here too. But it's this disturbance over here. It means they have potentially been on the floor. That's quite key.
So Nick knows the pesky porcupines have escaped, but will the cameras show him how?
So our first footage shows we've got one of our porcupines on the wall here at the front, which is would lead down to that palm tree, which is where we think they are getting out. Unfortunately, didn't get how they got to the wall, which I think might be one of the issues.
The palm tree escape route seems likely, but the crafty porcupines are covering their tracks on exactly how they're getting to it. And being consummate climbers, they naturally have more than one trick up their spiny sleeves.
So we've got her at the far left of the exhibit, again on the bars leading out. We've actually got two in that same spot, heading out then across towards the other exhibits. Unfortunately, it's quite dark, so we actually see if they both got up to that point from the tree or not.
Another exit identified, a high beam at the edge of the enclosure, but again no clue as to how the girls are getting there.
Both come back the same way now. So obviously didn't venture out too far at this point. From the footage, we've seen them out to the exhibit, we've seen where they are going. Just need to know how they're doing it. I think we're about 50% complete in the mission so far.
With nothing showing how the girls are escaping, Nick can't work out how to stop them. So it looks like the pair will be keeping their wandering ways for a while yet.
As Ben and I are celebrating 20 years here at the park, we're revisiting some moments that brought us closer than ever before to the animals. And that's exactly what world-renowned naturalist and BAFTA award-winning photographer Simon King did. He's a man who will stop at nothing in his quest to reveal the most exciting and dangerous animals on the planet. But it's here on this country estate that he's trying to capture the animal kingdom as it's never been seen before. But it's no easy task.
It's a challenge, it's a real challenge trying to get a view of these animals that, let's face it, have been photographed thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. A fresh perspective, a fresh view.
It was childhood trips here which ignited Simon's love of wildlife, and he's determined to capture the awe and amazement he felt years ago in this project. He's got a completely bonkers plan.
It's important that you get to the level or below the level of the creature, and that was particularly the case with the predators, the tigers, the lions, the wolves. In order to do that, I would have to be within a metre or so of an animal that, let's face it, could kill me. And the only way of achieving that was to build a specialist camera mount.
But when Simon says camera mount, he actually means camera cage. Because he decided that in order to really showcase the animal's world, he needs to get inside it. Similar to a shark cage, Simon's contraption is attached to the side of a 4x4 and allows him to be mere centimetres away from the deadly big cats.
The only access point from the camera point of view is what I've fondly referred to as the cat flap, which is a small hole just big enough for me to push the largest of my lenses.
And I thought a cat flap was to encourage cats to come in. Well, let's hope not, because today Simon is in with the tigers. Siberian tigers are the world's largest cats and are known for their power and stealth.
I'm just looking at the conditions in the tiger enclosure, the light conditions, and where I think they may come and play.
Stopping to photograph these animals is actually more dangerous here than out in the wild. The cats here are familiar with humans, so are more curious and bold. But that's not stopping Simon.
It's looking good. I'm going to drop the cage here. Good, isn't it?
But can this cage really protect Simon from 3 fully grown tigers?
I am armed with this. This is not to protect me if the tigers decide to attack me, but if they do think about popping a tyre and chewing the car and I can see them from here, then a little squirt of water in the ear can just detract and deflect their behaviour. So, yeah, armed and dangerous.
So, with the cat flap wide open and his secret weapon at the ready, it's time to release the tigers.
This is Simon to Tiger Team. Ready when you are. Over. I love this moment of waiting.
They come out of the house straight away.
You know, it does tickle some kind of primeval reptile brain fear triggers. I'm not afraid, but there's no doubt that there's a heightened sense of awareness, a heightened sense of being alive. Here she comes.
That was a rev.
Straight to the car.
Simon might be laughing, but the tigers aren't.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. That was dramatic. The last one was somewhat marred by me getting out of the way. I thought she was going to come straight at the door then. Can't do that again.
It looks like Simon will get another chance because one of them is heading straight for the cat flap.
Hello, sweetheart.
Simon has to act fast. This one's getting a bit too interested.
It's getting too close. Naughty. She was trying to get my beanbag. That's a paw in through the window. I'll tell you what, that's a big paw. It's almost the size of her face. And you know that shrouded in that velvet glove are daggers.
Tigers are powerful hunters that get close enough to attack their prey with a quick spring and a fatal pounce.
So as you can see, it's a very, very intimate experience when you've got a tiger's face here and you're a few centimeters away. You know you're alive. You want to stay that way.
Simon needs to raise the cage, but he isn't taking any chances.
One of the things tigers do with their prey, of course, is attack it from behind, so that it has absolutely no way of knowing that there's a tiger about to jump on their back.
But has today's life or death experience been worth it?
That's got some energy. That's got some dynamism. That's the shot of the day. That was worth it.
Simon lives on to photograph another day.
Earlier, we met Parsnip, the lovelorn porcupine who shares her space with a skunk, but needs to share her life with a porcupine boyfriend. Now it's time for Jean and Head of Animal Adventure, Graham, to introduce Parsnip to her blind date. Say hello to Irwin.
Don't really know what to expect, really. We've got Sam over in the edge there keeping the female busy with a big bowl of breakfast.
Yeah. I'm expecting fireworks.
I'm hoping there's no fireworks because there's lots of spikes going everywhere, so we'll see. But I'm hoping he just comes out, has a good smell, this whole place smells of her, and then we'll see what he does.
Well, Graham, last time that you released a porcupine, just remind me what happened.
So the last time we put the porcupine in here with the skunk, we had a bit of smell, a little bit of Graham feeling rather sick because I got sprayed by the skunk.
Where is Cecil?
So Cecil's inside, he's got his breakfast in there, he is happy as Larry, doesn't know what's going on.
Now, he's quite heavy when I was carrying him in here. What size is he compared to Parsnip?
So he's actually about 6 months younger than Parsnip,
right.
But actually he's not that far off the same weight. So the adult males should be about 3 kilos heavier than the girls. So we think he's probably matching her weight at the moment, probably about 8 kilos or so.
I'm really excited. Can I let him out?
Yep, go for it. Let's open the door.
Let him out. Here you come. Come on out.
So he's currently watching you
Let's
through
have a look.
through the gap.
Out you come, handsome.
So this is the point now. We just want to be.
Her nose is bothering her. She needs to know what's going on over here.
And I can smell him from here. He's got that real musky odour to him. So
oh, good.
we'll just Just slowly tilt the box. You're going to come out, buddy.
His nose is twitching as well, so I take it that's him just taking in all the scents around here.
He says, I'll just give it a minute.
Out you come. Out you come. Oh, there he is. Good looking boy. There you go.
Just stay nice and still, Jean, and you'll hopefully just walk right past us.
Yeah, he's a little bit smaller than her, isn't he? Look, 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 look.
They're going to get their first interaction. And he's not actually that much smaller, to be honest. He's puffed himself up, as has she, but they seem quite comfortable with each other. So
darker?
Far. Much darker, yeah. I mean, he could have come from a different location. Maybe he's been kept in a woodland environment, as opposed to this, which is a bit more open.
Oh, they're rubbing noses. Oh, Graham.
There we are. He's all right. They're doing quite well.
That is so sweet.
And what you got to remember is that these are part of the rodent family, so they're like rats and mice. They're the same sort of family, so the interactions should be quite okay. But they are solitary in the wild.
Their noses are right up against each other. That's got to be a good sign.
Talking to each other.
Please tell me that's a good sign.
And they've gone off in opposite directions.
So as first meetings go?
Yeah, very, very positive. A good interaction. He's gone straight into the barrel behind us to have an explore, and she's gone straight into his box. I think she wants to go back to where he came from. But yeah, that was almost a perfect interaction. There was no aggression, there was no noise. They were both puffed up in defense just in case, but they're not phased. They're not phased by each other, which is exactly what we hope for.
I think we've got a little love story on our hands. And when I come back, do you think there could be any little porcupine babies?
Well, we hope so. The gestation's about 210 days, so
right,
it's really, really long time for a rodent. But who knows?
Well, Graham, I think it's a match, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for these two.
Oh, fingers crossed it's all good things.
It's been almost a month now since one of the youngest zebra foals, Turnip, displayed worrying signs of lameness.
Good girl, Turnip. Good girl. She wasn't very strong on her hind legs, falling over, tripping up a lot. I hadn't seen anything like it in any of our zebras here, so for a time we were really concerned for her welfare and for her future.
At first, vets thought Turnip had an incurable neurological disorder called Wobblers disease that would have seen her put to sleep.
Turnip, come on, sweetie, you're nearly finished.
But on closer examination, it seemed more likely that she'd been hurt in an attack by another zebra. And, worryingly, her injury wasn't holding the herd back from lashing out again.
One of our dominant females, Kibibi, and her foal, Taylor, who's a young male who's growing up now, they really took a disliking to Turnip, possibly because she's one of the low-ranking females, like her mum, but also now she's showing a weakness, so they saw that as an opportunity to almost prove themselves, and it was getting, you know, quite persistent, so that was a big concern.
The constant attacks were leaving Turnip with no time to heal. So Tina and the park's vets took the drastic decision to separate her and her mum, Saga, from the rest of the herd.
It's a last resort thing that we wanted to do because we want to make sure, we want to keep the herd together. They're a unit and they keep their own hierarchy, and by us removing them, we've affected that. But we had to do it for Turnip. You know, she could have become severely injured being left in the group, but ultimately, if we left her where she was, there wasn't going to be a future for Turnip, unfortunately. Saga and Turnip have now been separate from the group for a total of 3 weeks now. We had a couple of worries of doing this. One, what's the progress going to be when we introduce them back into group, because that's the hope. However, they can still see the group. They do come up to the fence line and communicate with one another, so that's really good, so they're keeping in touch with the herd.
The more cordial relations between Turnip and the other zebras isn't the only piece of good news for the little foal.
Thankfully, you know, in the 3 weeks that they've been in here, she's gained a lot of strength back in those back legs. We've seen her running in here. She's keeping up with Mum very well. She's not falling over. She's now off medication. However, working with the vets, we've come to the conclusion still that she needs a little bit more time in here with her mum because we want her in top condition to go back out into the group. So we're pushing for Turnip and we're hopeful for her. So fingers crossed she'll be out causing trouble and she'll be just like her mum when she gets older, grumpy and wanting attention.
Now, before we go, we've nipped over to the mammal house to catch up with those pesky and prickly escape artists.
So, Chloe, these prehensile porcupines are really living up to their names, aren't they?
Definitely. They're certainly giving us the run around.
So what exactly are they doing? How are they getting out and then back in again?
So Squash in particular, she is running across the beams down this lovely tree here using her prehensile tail on these little notches.
Yep.
And then she's going across this bit. And to be fair, once she's down, she can go anywhere in this room, which obviously means she could get into the ferrets or the cavies, which is not ideal, but then she does climb up this fence and run along it and back inside. She is predominantly nocturnal. However, they can come out during the day. Normally that's when there's food around.
Right. So, so they could do this any time.
Definitely.
I mean, they are. I know you have a bit of a soft spot for them.
I definitely
have
do.
a bit of a soft spot for them, particularly that nose. It is extraordinary, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they've got a massive squishy nose. Obviously, they have an incredible sense of smell.
Can I just say a big nose is rather good? It served me well.
Well, actually, you're right, because if they still continue to escape, I mean, have you got any plans to stop them escaping?
Yeah, so we're kind of going to do like a process of elimination.
Okay.
So we know that this tree helps them.
Yes.
So what we're going to do, we're going to get some plastic and sort of like coat it around the tree.
Right.
So that basically she has no grip, so she's not confident enough to be like, okay, I can actually climb down this.
Yeah.
There are some other options we have as well. One quite cool one, I think, is actually doing a recall kind of training with them. So, you know, no guests are around at night, so let's let them have kind of the run of this beautiful space.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, recall them, get them to come back, obviously reward them with a treat, and they're back there for when we open for the guests.
Oh, that sounds really
I
fun.
think it would be really cool.
If they go missing, we have got, you know, Chief Detective
Exactly.
Fogel here with the nose, who can sniff them out.
Absolutely. At a fee. I come with a cost, but I'm at your service.
No worries, you're more than welcome to come and help us. We need it every day at the minute.
We're here anytime. Chloe, thank you so much.
Thank you very
Sadly,
much.
we've run out of time, but here's what's coming up on the next programme.
Can car-attacking Amur tiger Red
We have to be on our game all the time because it could be absolutely any vehicle that comes through.
improve his behaviour around visiting vehicles?
First car's on the way in.
Life-saving surgery on a troublesome tusk for Muttley.
It will just carry on growing. In the wild, he wouldn't be able to survive.
And a rare sighting
Wow!
of one of our most elusive species.
Oh, Jim, that's fantastic,
It really
isn't
is, isn't it?